Big shocker, the topic of Hulk in films is again diluted to the idea of the character being butchered, nerfed, or ruined. While I think a lot of those sentiments are a bit overdramatic, I can't be mad at those who feel that way. You have a character like Hulk, a very popular and easily recognizable hero, being one of the starting points in the MCU, and is subsequently shafted from then on, with little to no focus on anything else having to do with him. It's like seeing other kids on the playground, but only being able to join them on Fridays for 5 minutes. You can't do anything else but just be an occasional character who shows up here and there, despite original plans to be a mainstay. Even before Avengers, Hulk was already fading out. So how did this happen, and who's to blame? It's not an easy answer, so here's an overview of the various factors that could have contributed to Hulk's decline in live action. When talks of why a new Hulk movie still hasn't been made, fingers are automatically pointed at Universal for still holding onto those distribution rights instead of letting Marvel have everything. It's a bit more complicated than that, so we have to start from the beginning in the 90s, when Universal acquired Hulk's film rights. A Hulk movie was difficult to get off the ground. Countless writers and directors all threw in their ideas for the project, ranging from a faithful adaptation of Hulk's early stories to a comedy movie with Jim Carrey. Eventually, the project found its way toward Ang Lee, who took the job, finally getting around to completing the film. Released on June 20th, 2003, Hulk opened to mixed reception. For a summer blockbuster, it certainly wasn't what general audiences would have expected, leading to second guesses as to whether to continue with the sequel. In 2006, Hulk's film rights would be taken back by Marvel, allowing them to use the character in its upcoming cinematic universe. However, Marvel offered to make a deal with Universal beforehand, giving them the reins to distribute any Hulk film developed by the newly formed Marvel Studios. The Incredible Hulk released on June 13th, 2008, a reboot of the character that served as a second entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film received more favorable reviews than the previous, but its box office numbers were lacking, having made $264.8 million worldwide. This wouldn't be terrible if it weren't for the fact its budget was $150 million, not even counting the marketing costs. Regardless, enthusiasm was in the air for more of this rendition of the character, moving forward with talks of a sequel introducing the leader, but plans would be cancelled. From then on, Hulk would appear as a supporting character in future MCU projects, recast with Mark Ruffalo. Stunted by this, fans would wonder why a new Hulk project didn't kick off after the character's tremendous return in the Avengers. Well, there was one studio that many blamed, Universal. After wondering what was stopping Marvel from developing a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, Mark Ruffalo revealed that Universal was the obstacle preventing a new film from taking off. Now, how exactly is Universal hindering future Hulk projects, and what could Marvel do about that? Let's look at the deal Marvel struck with the studio. Then Vice Chairman of Marvel Studios, David Meltzy, had a phone call with Universal Chief Ron Mayer about the Hulk. Meltzy offered a deal that in return for the character's film rights, Universal would distribute any future Hulk film by Marvel Studios. But there was a catch. The films had to be strictly Hulk stories, so if he were a supporting character in another movie, Marvel owed nothing. However, if Marvel were to continue with the Hulk project, Universal has a right of first refusal, which means they get first dibs on whether or not they want to distribute the film. If Universal passes, then Marvel can continue with distribution from Disney. Since then, this deal has remained in place with little to no information on whether this is something that will eventually expire. So in reality, Universal really has no say in whether or not a Hulk movie gets developed. They don't have production rights and can't shut down Marvel if they were to move forward. All they can do is distribute the film and that's it. But wait, The Incredible Hulk found its way to Disney Plus in 2023. Does this mean Marvel can finally work on a World War Hulk movie? No, Universal just lost the distribution rights to the Incredible Hulk movie, but not the Hulk character. As of now, Universal still holds that. It is easy to say, well, why hog it? What does Universal have to gain? They have the sweet potential of MCU money to gain, that's what. They wouldn't be stupid enough to give up this presumably forever deal that Marvel struck fair and square, because it's easy money, and I think that bothers Marvel, or Disney in this case, because they'd have to split profits instead of just having everything to themselves. And if you say, but they made a deal with Sony for Spider-Man, why not do the same here? It's Spider-Man. If Universal isn't solely responsible for this, then what other grievances would Disney have to not continue with the franchise? What if they're not just upset at Universal having a piece of Hulk, but for having a piece of the Marvel Universe? On March 22nd, 1994, then owner of Universal Pictures and Universal Parks, MCA, had negotiated a deal with Marvel for the character's theme park rights during the midst of the company selling off the film rights of its characters. Marvel Superhero Island officially opened on May 28, 1999, as one of the 6 original islands from Islands of Adventure. Universal Studios Orlando and Hollywood were already some heavy competition to Disney's theme parks, and upon purchasing Marvel in 2009, you can imagine Disney probably wasn't thrilled by the fact they could not use their newly acquired characters. Universal stated that the acquisition would not impact its agreement with Marvel. and Disney CEO Bob Iger noted that the company would continue any contracts that Marvel currently had before the acquisition, even with Universal's indefinite hold on the IP. All is well, game recognizes game, and Disney can still use Marvel characters in their Disneyland park anyway, thanks to the contract allowing Disney to utilize Marvel characters west of the Mississippi River. But it's never that simple. As the MCU grew exponentially, Disney couldn't help but feel the itch of wanting to profit off their ever-growing IP at its Orlando resort. Universal primarily uses the Avengers, X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and anything having to do with them. So if Disney World wants to incorporate Marvel characters, they'd have to go for something Universal hasn't snagged, like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is exactly what Disney did. One can only imagine how much this frustrates Disney, which could very well explain why they refuse to work with Universal, even at the risk of Hulk never getting another film again. I would not be surprised if Disney offered Universal a deal to give back all Marvel assets, including Hulk's distribution rights, in exchange for, I don't know, a landfill-sized pile of money, or further financing for their films. Just anything. Only for Universal to go, "How about no?" Because why would they? Universal stuck with Marvel even before the company became a powerhouse, so there's no reason to give up now unless they truly want to move on with something fresh. Thus, Disney's rivalry with Universal may never end anytime soon. It's sad to see a character like Hulk stuck in the middle of corporate beef. Not just because he's my favorite character, but having any IP be caught in the crossfire of something like this is devastating. I'm not going to act like I know all the inner workings of Hollywood, how deals are made, or what's truly going on behind the scenes with Marvel, but covering this topic has made me think that maybe there isn't a sole entity responsible. I mean, all this is really just speculating from the various elements I've been able to gather. And once you mix the troubles in production, the poor box office, the recast, and Marvel's other plans for the Infinity Saga, a new Hulk movie just seemed like something that was never in the cards for Feige, regardless of Universal's hold. It's such a shame. One of the reasons why a new Hulk movie was even developed to help jumpstart the MCU was that the Hulk was still insanely popular, being Marvel's second biggest consumer product at the time, and now it seems like Hulk's dominance has dissipated through the years. However, I'd argue Hulk still has relevance in the current landscape, even if he hasn't received a project of his own in decades. Hulk still appears in tons of other Marvel media and continues to have a presence. Currently, he's returning in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So Hulk certainly isn't going anywhere, and with Marvel's soon-to-be restart after Secret Wars, one can hope that it inspired the studio to take another shot at re-establishing the character.